Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. It is Wednesday. Families in Arizona continue to grieve. They continue to pray. In some cases, they're hoping against all hope for a miracle. While those people are dealing with the realness of the tragedy, real life, many are dealing with it as a game. A chance maybe to fundraise, chance to push some legislation or some regulation through, chance to push an agenda. And it is getting worse with each passing minute, despite the latest revelation from a friend of the shooter.
He did not watch TV. He disliked the news. He didn't listen to political radio.
Wow, that's a problem, isn't it? I mean, if you're pushing an agenda, that's a problem. He didn't like TV, he didn't watch the news, and he doesn't listen to political radio. See, here's the problem that most people that have power in America just don't understand. The truth has no agenda. That's why it will set you free. On this program, day one, Monday, the day we returned after the shooting, I told you about the shooter and the victims. That's what the story was about. The victims and the shooter. Day two, yesterday, was about the media and politicians and how they're using this tragedy to further their agenda. Today, we wrap things up. Day three, this tragedy. Day three, you. We know how Washington is going to spin this. We know what's unfortunately happening with the victims, and we're watching the shooter. But now maybe it's time to spend a little time on this story, with the angle being you. Come on. Hello, America. On Monday, I issued a challenge to the media and to politicians. I issued a challenge to all Americans in response to the shooting in Arizona. And it was a denunciation of all forms of violence, something that would be pretty easy for all Americans to unite on, to remember our principles and our values. Well, I put this out, and I don't expect anybody in Washington to actually watch this show. I imagine it makes them uncomfortable. We spent the last 2 days contacting the 100 senators and the 400-plus representatives in the House. We plugged this phone in, and we can still use it to dial out. We just don't care if they call us anymore. We've talked with staffers. We've talked with various House leaders, senators, who have spread the challenge around. It's a very simple thing. Here it is. That's it. Half a page long. The number of people so far who have signed this pledge denouncing violence, 14. 14. Over 500 members in the House and Senate, and 14. Now, I was going to show you the 14 names because I'm proud of those guys, but maybe some other time. I just don't want this to turn into, this is not the, Committee on Un-American Activities. That's for Congress to do, not a private citizen. So I don't want some list going around, but I just want you to know it's 14. And I've heard all kinds of reasons and excuses. Some just say they just need more time. Some are afraid to be associated with it. Afraid? Some need more time to read it. It's not really that complex. I don't know if you know this. It's this long. Others agree with it. Oh, Glenn, I'm telling you, we agree with it. We're in complete agreement here. But I'm a little uncomfortable signing anything. Really? Some are confused about fundraising or tying their name to me because what will their constituents think? I don't know. You're against violence? I really, honestly, I didn't think very many politicians would sign this. It was really an exercise to show you them. They're also worried about what it means politically. I don't know what's going to happen. What's happening? What do we do? We have to change ourselves so they know we're not that shallow. There are some things that we stand for, and they're pretty easy to understand. Nonviolence, shooting anyone as a political statement, pretty much something I think all of us can get together. Now, that's not what happened Saturday, but I just want to make it very clear who's for and against. Now, maybe it's very complex. I mean, I can't imagine why anybody wouldn't sign this. Politicians are trotting themselves out and saying now is the time for unity. Nancy Pelosi and John Boehner had to have a conference call to issue a time where they could get together on another conference call so they could put together an email saying this: a time for us to come together as a nation. Congressman Debbie Wasserman Schultz said, quote, "It's a moment for both parties in Congress to come together." Well, that is fantastic. I love words. I do. And here's half a page of those words. It's my gift to you, something easy to unite on. 14 are willing to sign and go out of their comfort zone. I've created a document that is so easy to sign. It's based on principles and values. It is so easy. And it is something that is it's made to have people who are uncomfortable stand together. I issued the challenge on Monday, and I said that I would stand with Van Jones and Barack Obama, people I disagree with vehemently. But I think we could come together on denouncing violence, don't you? Stand shoulder to shoulder and declare that there are a few things that are above politics. But that doesn't mean we stop our political battles. I mean, with words, not weapons. So here's how sick our system is and how sick our system has become. George Soros, spooky dude, has funneled money to an organization that has he's actually spent money on this. Glenn Beck's anti-violence pledge, a transparent trap for Democrats. Darn it! Well, I was this close to catching them in that trap if it wasn't for those pesky kids. Yes, I almost had the Democrats caught into that trap of denouncing violence and riots. Imagine if I could have trapped them into signing something like that. Oh man, I could have gotten on TV and said, look, Democrats don't want violence either. Wait a minute, that's actually something. Trap? Getting trapped with petitions. I know it happens all the time. It happened with Van Jones, with the truthers. Remember, 9/11 truther? He signed up, went to a thing, and he was speaking there or something. He was like, I didn't even know it was a 9/11 truther when we brought it up. I just signed it. Oh, I know. It's so easy to do that. It happened to me once. I ended up being in the French military for 2 whole months. I signed a piece of paper. I didn't know what it was. I ended up surrendering to 14 countries by the time I figured that out. But that's another story. So let's look at this pledge and see what's so gosh darn controversial that only 14 people in Congress are willing to sign it. Here it is.